when the Olympics came, everybody was hearing about the Olympic dream and the dream of an athlete to participate, to compete, to become the best in the world. And she was saying, well, what about my dreams as an Indigenous woman? She's from Penticton, and she says, well, my dreams are about the earth and about making sure that we have a sustainable environment and that we protect the earth. And so she created this really nice video about her idea of what would happen if Mother Earth came to life for 5 minutes.
I've been thinking about the Olympics and the impact it's having on my people, our people, and pretty much everybody in British Columbia and Canada. And I thought about dreams, and I thought about my dreams and where they started. And they started on a little ranch in the Marin Valley, which is a beautiful ecological reserve located on the Penticton Indian Reserve. And that's where my dreams were that's where they started, is on this little farm in this rural community in Penticton on the reserve. And so the work that I want to do over the next while is look at dreams and how they're change agents, how dreams change us, change society, and change people. And I know that the athletes that are competing in the Olympics, of course it started with the dream. It started with something greater than they thought of themselves.
This isn't a protest site. This is a place for us to look at our values, the values we have as a community, as artists, and as individuals, and how they relate to this big event that's happening in BC. And I think that Roja's work and Tracy's work really are a really great example of just how an artist that can respond in a way that is really meaningful without and really hitting on those things that are so important. James was one of the early artists who got involved in the project. He was one of the first 4 featured artists.
So the work I'm doing is an animated 2-minute short. It's a non-narrative, non-figurative piece, but it is actually definitely showing imagery that is alluding to sort of a cartoonish look at some of the social impact the games have been having.
And he was looking at the issue of copyright in terms of the Olympic rings, and how artists have often found different ways to go around the regulations that are put on some of these cultural images. And he was saying the colors that he uses aren't Olympic colors, they're the NTSC color scheme, but people confuse them because they're so similar.
The feeling is definitely there. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone. We have faith in our leaders. We're optimistic as to what becomes of it all. It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism.
This is Preeti Tong, who's an artist who graduated from Okanagan College and studying at NASCAD right now. And this is an interactive piece, and it's the price tag from Amiga doll. And by running your mouse over it, it recognizes the movement, and you can start to work down through the layers of the threads. It sort of pulls those threads out. And underneath of it is the price tag of the actual cost of the Olympic Games.
Oh boy.
But what's interesting about it, oh, I clicked it, so it goes back to the beginning, is that the programming is constantly working against you, so you can never actually get down to the price. Brian was also one of the featured artists at the beginning of the project, and he created this piece. It was right after the government announced all the cuts to funding, the provincial government, the cuts to funding to the arts.
I've never really worked politically before. I've never felt strong enough to work that way. I've generally not worked from that until the subject of the Olympics came into place, and mainly was around the 81% of the cuts. Did I say 81% cuts to BC arts and culture, which I found absurd in an Olympic year. Yet our government can be $450 million over budget on an Olympic Village housing project. Unbelievable. Anyway, so I've taken a lot of the financial figures and taken some footage illegally, I'll add, from the IOC, and mixed the two together. And the results are rather interesting because, well, we have this great 2-week party we're throwing. Homelessness is increasing. Social problems are increasing. There's less money for artists. There's less money for labor unions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It goes down the line. And that's what my work's about. And I felt that the only way to, you can't say that nicely. You gotta just say it.
By 0.05 of a second, Jim became his family's second Olympic champion.
They move stuff from other budgets into the cultural budget so that they can say that they've increased and created a meaningful investment in arts and culture. But in fact, all they've done is move things from other budgets into the arts and culture budget. On the ground, the impact is going to mean at our space that we're going to be short next year, let's see, $27,000 in our organization alone. And the following year is going to be about $44,000 cut. The React 2010 site has been invited to participate in the Istanbul Contemporary Art Museum's Web Biennale. So it's going to be showcased internationally now. The Istanbul Museum is creating a show called Anti-Censor. And so for the curator, he was quite interested in this work because it did provide an open forum for artists to respond, and there was no restrictions to it. This was a really great opportunity, and I just wanted to thank the Central Okanagan Foundation here in Kelowna for donating the money to allow us to create the site, and for all of the artists for all of their hard work and making it such an awesome site. Congratulations.
All right.